Hi, good evening, everyone. So, today we will start with our Bitcoin trading analysis. As you all know, we do our regular trading analysis, and in this session, we will continue doing it. So let's start with without wasting our time. Let's straight away start with our trading analysis. Perfect. So today Bitcoin is trading at approximately $87,800, approximately like this, right? So as you can see the key stats here, right? So it's important whenever you want to start or whenever you want to enter any trade, it's important if you check the following stats like volume like these, what's the volume, what is the average volume in the last 30 days, what is the trading volume from the last 24 hours, market capitalization, then what's the market cap, what's the volume, what's the circulating supply. So this key set is something which you need to spend your time, hardly like 2 to 3 minutes, but it's important you not completely ignore this, right? So it's important you to have a clear idea of what is happening under the hood. Now, secondly, it's important for you to check the performance metrics, right? So how the particular asset, how the particular coin was performing in the last 1 week, in the last 1 month, in the last 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year, right? So this is the thing which you need to, I'm not saying you to spend a ton of your time reading this data, but it's important for you to, quickly take a look of what and how it is performing, right? So since we are doing the regular trading analysis, it's not again worth it. We will go back and start analyzing the candles from the last 6 months, because if you have joined the call yesterday, we did our analysis of all the candles from the last 6 months yesterday, right? So in yesterday's session, if you were with me, we spent enough time there and we understand each candles in detail. So today it's gonna be approximately 1 hour long live session. So I would request kindly buckle up, take the tea, take the coffee, take the copy and pen, and just be in your comfort zone, because we will gonna be diving deeper about each candles, like what the candle is representing, what kind of support and resistance the candle was showing, and things like that. So just buckle up and let's get straight into the dashboard. So we will start from 17th of December. Today it's the 19th December. So we will start with the 17th of December. Let me just quickly check if everything is set or not. I think you guys can see me, you guys can hear me, you guys can see my screen. All good. Let's get started. Lovely. So, perfect. So, let me quickly add few indicators. Okay, I think we already have this volume here, and I have just added German key levels for those who don't know how to draw, you know, their support and resistance, they can use indicators like Jorgum, and there are few more, but I would suggest, like it's important for you to understand how to draw support and resistance, and in the future coming videos we will be drawing your support, your resistance, your trend line, and then we will do the analysis. But for the time being, we will start the analysis without those support and resistance, because I understand some of them must be a newbie and they don't understand what is exactly support and resistance. So perfect. So I would recommend everyone use your own support and resistance. Perfect. So let's get started. Once again, I welcome you all to this live session. It's going to be very helpful. It's going to be very insightful. So just everyone stay with me, and we will get started. Lovely. So everyone can see on my screen, because as I just mentioned, we will start doing the analysis from 17th of December, right? So as we can all see, it's a big red candle with a big body, right? And if we have to talk about the wicks, so I would say it's not a very long wick, right? So as we can see, it opens around 87,800 approximately, right? Yes. 1 second, let me make it. Lovely. So it opens approximately at 87.8, and as you can see the high, it's not too high, but as you can see the high was trading approximately at 87,900, touching like 88,000, right? You can see the body closes at 87,200 approximately, and again you can see there is a very low wick, right, which was approximately at 87,125, but it's a very small wave. So the candle anatomy, it was saying, we can see the body is approximately of $400, right? Upper week is of like kind of 600, and the lower week is like of a 300, right? So what happened? Let's understand post this. So the prices, this price they pushed higher into like 88 point something, as you can see here. They tried to push it so high into 88.8 to somewhere between 88.6K zone, but they failed, right? This candle they failed to hold. And the long upper wick, they tell us that sellers were already so active above 88 point 88.1K, right? As we can all see clearly on this picture. So why does this happen, right? So this is the early distribution, right? Whenever we see candle like these, a good assumption can be considered as it's a early distribution, right? So the late breakout buyers they enter, right, and all the large players they sell into that liquidity, right, and prices they close back inside that range, right. And if we have to structure the candles, and to make it more structurized, to make it more easy, I would say this candle plants the seed, right, like above 88.1 or 2K, it is not clean anymore, right? So that is what this candle is depicting. Now, when we can see there is this another candle, it's 17th of December, it was trading like during the time of 4 a.m. in the morning. We can see another red candle, but with a very small body. And you can see the upper wick is comparatively okayish, but the lower wick is way, way, way larger, right? what does this candle is representing? What does this mean? What happened and why it happened, right? So let's get into that. Okay, so it opens around 87.1k, right? Closes approximately 87,050, right? There's this very high lower wick which we can see right here at this moment. It was trading like approximately at 86,200, and this lower week was at 87,357. So we can see the bodies of approximately 500. The anatomy we can consider it's a kind of 500, right? Look at this, 87,300, 86,200, right? So what happened here? We have the lower high and the lower close, right? But as compared to high, close is way lower, right? So why this happen? Because buyers, they are no longer aggressive, right? And momentum has already started, like they already has stalled, right? So the technical implication I would want to add here is that this confirm loss of initiative buying, right? Market is again transitioning. Market is into transitioning form, right? So as we can say, like initiative is directly representing the responsive behavior of the nature, right? Lovely. So that was the candle. That's the story the candle is telling us during the date of 17th December, 4 a.m. in the morning, right? Now let's go back. Let's analyze the candle of 8 a.m. in the morning, right? So we can again see here that it's a very small body we can see here, but again with a very higher lower wick, right? So what does this even mean? I would rather say that, this candle, it opens at 87,000, right? And they tried again one more to bounce toward 87,000, right? So it opens at 87,014 and they tried to bounce till 87,100, but again they failed and they closed closer to 86,900. What is critical here is not the size of the move, right? Because as we can see here, it's a very small size, but the repetition of the failure, we can see we have straight three times failure, right? And each bounce attempt is again weaker. Each high is lower, and sellers are increasingly they're confident, right? So from a technical like from technical point of view, I would say this is where you explain to your you explain to your market that the market do not crash from the strength, right? They collapse from failed strength, right? And by the end of 17, the market is no longer trending. As you can see, it is again fragile, right? So with liquidity stacked below obvious 87,200, right? So that is all what it is, what the candle is representing the story at 8 a.m. in the morning at 17th of December, right? Now, when we will navigate to another candle, which was of 12 p.m. in the noon, we can see a big green candle. But Interestingly, here the interesting part is you can observe the upper week, right? You can see it's a lot higher than the lower week, right? The body is not too large, the body is quite okayish, it's a quite small, but the interesting part which we need to understand here is we have such a huge upper week, right? So it opens at approximately 86,950, right? The high you can see here is 87,200 approximately, right? As you can see, it closed at 86,000. 86,000. Look, it opens at 86,900 something and it closed at 87,190, right? So the body you can see here it's of approximately 1,300, almost no upper V, right? You can see this is the insane. This is kind of a insane. You can see here. Okay, anyone watching here can you try to understand? Can you make the calculation like what happened to the trade when it straight, like when it came from 8 a.m. in the morning, so during the time interval of 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., right? We can see there is such a huge changes in the trade behavior, right? So can anyone try to understand, or maybe can anyone try to calculate the reason behind what happened first? Can anyone try to understand what actually happened during this time interval and why is this supposed to happen? So I would want everyone to spend a bit of time. One second. Okay, I'm visible perfectly. First, I would want everyone to first understand the kind of behavior Bitcoin showed from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then we will jump into this, right? So take the pen and paper. I have pen and paper with me. I usually prefer to have pen and a paper with me just to write any numbers, just to write any trade, or just to write whatever I wanted to, because it usually helps me a lot. I don't know what is helpful for you, but give it a try and use pen and paper while entering into a trade. This is personally I like the most. This is not any like a proven method. If I would use pen and paper, you will get some good trades. No, nothing is like that. But this is personally my favorite, so that's why I'm recommending, and it is something it is very useful for me. So yeah. By the way, the market is trading approximately it's today it's above 88K, right? As we can see here. Yesterday, I think it was supposed to be yesterday, Bitcoin touched again $85,000, and then it was again, showing different prices 85, 86, 87, somewhere in between these. But again, yesterday, for anyone those who want to, buy a dip, yesterday was a good time because Bitcoin was trading at 85,000. So yeah. Hmm. Are you all trying to understand the market? Are you all trying to understand the market behavior? Let me know in the comment. So, what all you understand from this candle? It's quite, and interestingly, once you will understand the scandal behavior, you will get another shock because there's just such a large candle. Yesterday also there is such a large candle. When we were observing the chart of the Bitcoin, we also have found such a big red candle during that time also, right? So hmm, it's kind of important to understand what is happening under the hood, because once we will be able to understand what is happening, it will help us again, right? Perfect. So, by the way, it's just 20. Cool. No issues. It's okay. Okay. So, see, trading view is giving us the complete OHLC right at the top, right? So, like as you can see here, it opens at 88,000, 87,000, 87,000 uh, $200. It closed at 88,400, right? The high you can see here, it was of approximately 89,000 something, and the low you can see here 87,200 something, right? So this is like not a normal bearish candle, right? This is kind of a true liquidation candle, right? So let's break this anatomy more properly. See, the real body here is, I would say, of 4,000 or something points, approximately, no? 87, yeah, approximately, right? So if you will notice from here, approximately, right? And the upper wicks again is like something of some points, right? So that you see, if you will check the combination, no? So almost no top wick and close on the low. Plus, the market is shouting one thing. There was no meaningful bid support during the drop, right? And sellers, they stayed in control, right? Under until the candle ended, right? So in the real auction, when you will go now, this is the strong downside acceptance, right? Not just a dip. So whenever you will see things like this, always remember in the mind like this is the strong downside acceptance. This is not like a dip, right? And this is what happened during the time of 4 p.m. UTC time period, right? So you can see here, it opens at something. So see what happened right before this call and why again it mattered. So look at the green candle just to the left of the crash, right? Prices climbing, right? Prices climbing and printing higher closes. move back above 86,000 something, 86,500 pivot, right? And pushing into the upper 88 area, upper 88 area. And that is where liquidity is sitting, right? Above all the prior highs, above all the round numbers, above where all the late buyers they place their stops, and whatever the breakout entries they cluster, right? Then this crash candle opens at again 88,400 and something, like barely they trades higher to 88,400 something 66 like this. So it's kind of, it's not like a continuing the upward, right? And immediately the rewards and collapse, right? So technically that's kind of a failed continuation, which we can say. It's a kind of failed acceptance at the highs, right? And the market, right, as you can see, the market, they invited all the breakout buyers in like near 88,400 and something, as you can see in the screen, right? So they then come into the picture and then they rip the floor out, right? And this is exactly how bull traps are formed on higher time frames, right? You don't need a huge wake up, right? You just need a high open near the top and immediate rejection. That is all what you need, right? There is no bounce intrabar, right? So, and after that, as you can see, the next sequence on the right side of the chart, you can see here is what we call repair, right? You can see a strong green response called following the dump, where price again rebounds from 84.4K low region back toward the pivot zone, right? So, you can see here, you can see that, without even reading exact all the OHLC, like open, high, lows, and close for each green candle. The trading view is not, like it's clear. The structure is all clear. The trading view is easily, like if you don't want to go and want to manually read the OHLC, right? The structure is so clear that the market goes from a straight line sell off into a kind of V-shaped recovery, right? Which tells you that forced selling ended and the auction started rebalancing, right? So that's the story this chart is clearly depicting without even checking the upper highs, upper lows, close, and open body. That's all. You don't want to jump into it, right? So that is all what it is. And the key technical question in a repair is always about like does this price reclaim the pivot, and does the price hold like the closes above it? That's the main important question every time you will find whenever you will see the repair like this. Once you see the candles, right, reclaiming, the closing, and above all that line, you will see the market is no longer in a liquidation mode, right? It is back into kind of a, like two-sided trade, right? So that's all what you need to first of all understand. Let me quickly check if you guys can hear me. Absolutely. Okay, you guys can hear me, you guys can see me. I'm expecting you guys can see my screen all well. Perfect. Lovely. Okay, now look at where the price is trading, right? So it is currently approximately 87,000.9, approximately 88, right? And you can see small candles near the top, right? The tighter bodies and like the smaller wicks, right? So that's a kind of a compression after, you know, displacement and recovery, right? So this matters again because all the compression near a key zone is where the market decides whether it is building energy for continuation or just, like stalling under the supply, right? And on your chart, as you can see, the nearest decision band is like roughly 87,200 something to 88,400 approximately, right? And why these numbers? Because 87,200 is something which is quietly visible, like a middle line reference which is started, and 88,400 approximately to 88,467 is the exact area where the crash candle opened and they were in a peak position before collapsing, right? So that's a key thing, that makes the entire 8844K structure kind of an important supply main marker, right? So against the kind of place where the market proved that the higher prices were rejected violently, right? So that is all what it is. But again, just to, you know, uh, kind of compare, right? So what is holding for us from a TA perspective? So it comes down like a acceptance versus kind of a rejection above three levels, right? So first is like 86,600 and something must hold as the pivot if the price loses it on like a 4 hour closing basis, right? And the market they re-enters repair failure and can rotate back towards the 85 to something like 84.4 something K, right? So that's the first thing which you need to understand, which you need to keep in mind, right? Secondly, as you can see here, 87,000.2K, right? Something 234, right? This acts like a balanced middle line, right? Holding above it keeps the auction biased upward, and losing it turns the market back into chop or maybe like range behavior. Third thing which is important, the big level is 88.4K something, your exact crash opens area, right? And if price can print 4 hour candles, that not only tag above 88.4 but close and hold above it. So that's the real acceptance, and the market is proving that the bull trap is being invalidated, right? And when you will see again, there's this green candle with a kind of average body. It's not like an average body, but again, it's a kind of a okayish body. It's a big body, I can definitely say. So it opens approximately at, like we can see here of there's a difference of like approximately $1,000. We can clearly see there's upper week. We can clearly see that the lower week is very very small. Approximately, you can consider it as a none, right? And during this time period, the market was trading approximately, the upper high was like the body was trading approximately 85,462, and they tried to push till 85,723, but the market they forced and they moved the bar to 85,400 and something, right? So after a very large big red candle, there is this again another green candle with a kind of average behavior the Bitcoin was depicting during that time, right? So stay tuned in the next 4 minutes. In the next 4 minutes, we will continue diving deeper about today's chart, right? So we will start with 19, like we will start with 12 a.m. in the morning. What was the Bitcoin behavior during this time period? And we will analyze the behavior of Bitcoin in detail. So stay tuned. Let's take a quick 3 to 4 minutes break. We will come back, we will see, and then we will start it again. Lovely. Welcome, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Let's start again. Cool. So, perfect. Okay. So we will gonna start with the very first candle of 19th of December, right? Cool. So this candle, as you can see, right, there's this green big candle which we can see here opens approximately at 85,000.4 something. It closes approximately at 86,800 and something. You can see there's this high wick. You can see the lower wick is again there is, but it's comparatively low, right? So this candle is the, first response after the liquidation low from the previous day, right? So visually, you can see that it opens in the mid 85 something, 85K region and closes significantly higher around the 86.8 something K, 86.65 K, 8K, right? So the size of the body to prior all the candles tell us that this is not your random business. This is not your random bounce, right? This is kind of forced selling exhaustion, right? It shows like sellers they tried to push the price lower early in the session, but bids absorbed and that pressure and price they never revisited the lows, right? So from an auction perspective, this candle marks the end of liquidation and the beginning of repair, right? And technically, this candle does not reverse the trend yet, right? But it establishes kind of a reference low around somewhere between 85 to 85.6K, right? Which the market will not defend or maybe fall against in later candles, right? So that's all what the story of this candle is representing. 19th December, your 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. UTC time period, right? Now let's go back to our another candle. Okay, during the time period of 4 a.m. in the morning, right? As you can see, it opens. Okay, see the next 4 hour candles open near the prior close, right? You can see here. It opens approximately at around, as you can see here, 86 point something, right? And continuous higher closing, as you can see here, around 87.9K, right at the, right at your less blue, what we can say, TMA, right? And that's, as you can see, that's the pivot line also. So the body of this candle is again like super solid, while there is a small upper wake, right? It is not like so aggressive, right? Meaning all the sellers they didn't immediately reject the high prices, right? The candle is extremely important because technically it reclaims the pivot, right? So in market structure terms like this is the transition from dead cat bounce to value re-entry, right? And once prices they re-enters and they closes above pivot area liquidation, so we can say the market is no longer one directional. That's an important point which we need to keep in mind, right? And buyers they are no longer just covering the shorts; they are also accepting the price higher, right? And this candle, this converts this converts from resistance band into the support memory, right? So this is the important thing which we need to understand, because this is what the story of this candle is depicting, right? Now, if you will notice, there's again a green candle. As you can see, there's a continuous uptrend moving forward, right? As you can see here. So this opens approximately at 87,900 and closed around 88,128, right? So during the time period of 8 a.m. in the morning UTC time period, right? So the candle opens just above your pivot and again pushes further into upper 88.2k something, right? With a high probably closing to 88.3 something k, right? And this anatomy here is again important and it is different because from the earlier candle, as you will gonna compare, so you will see the body is smaller relative to the prior impulse, right? Which you can see clearly on the screen, right? And the upper wing becomes more visible, right? It's clearly visible, right? So this tells us that, you know, something is subtle but not critical, right? The market is no longer in panic recovery, right? So, it is now not testing supply, right? So buyers, they are still in control, but all the sellers, they are beginning to respond near the prior rejection zones, right? And structurally, the scandal confirms continuation of repair, but it also again introduces hesitation. So, from a teaching standpoint, I would want to add that this is where, uh, you know, we have these strong trends, like we can see we have the clean bodies, we can see the small wicks, while the transition, it is back into resistance zone, right? And they start showing a wick expansion, right? So this is what the story of this third candle of 19th of December is depicting, right? Now, when you will see and when you will jump to the another candle, right? As you can see here, let me zoom a bit, right? So you can see here, right? So this is the candle currently. You can see. So we cannot depict much about this candle right now, because sometimes it is green, sometimes it is red. So depicting anything about this candle right at this moment is not correct. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and select the time frame as a 45 minutes, right? Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. Cool. As we can see here, during the 2 p.m. 15 minutes in the noon, as you can see, right, this is the green candle, right? Let's understand the kind of trend. So first, let me quickly check if I am probably I'm audible, right? You guys can see me now. Probably, yeah. Perfect. Sounds good, 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 good. Perfect. Now, first, let's try to, as you can see on the screen, this is the dashboard of the last 45 minutes, right? So, everyone should be asking, is Bitcoin like kind of a bullish long term, or like, who kind of controls the intraday auction right now, and how clean is it? Like kind of these questions everyone would be having. But again, see, this chart is like a clear short-term uptrend we can see here. We can see here, and we can see like first we can see this is like a short-term uptrend. We can kind of assume, right? Because price is doing three things simultaneously, right? See, making higher highs, right? Making higher lows, you can see, right? And holding above a rising dynamic mean, right? So that combination is equals to your trend, not a chop, right? It is making higher high, making higher lows, and again holding above a rising dynamic, right? Dynamic. So that's something you can see here. TMA is approximately 86,121, right? So that is the one thing which we can see. And if we have to talk about the structural breakdown of this candle, right? So let's walk left, right? Let's walk left to right and then read intent, right? So first, see, on the left of the side, you can see a strong bullish expansion candle around like 6:45 to 7:30 UTC, right? You can see this, correct? So you can see there's a strong bullish expansion candle. You can see this candle is again large and it closes near the high, right? So what that tells us. So first thing, buyers they stepped in with urgency, and all the sellers they could not trade that move, right? And the candle they break the prior balance. This is the trend start candle, right? So everything after this must be judged relative to it, right? So that's the thing which we need to keep in mind. Now, when you will see the phase B, that's the healthy pullback you will gonna name it. You will gonna maybe consider it like whatever you want to do. So see, it's not like a downtrend, right? So after the impulse, you can see here, price does not collapse. Can you see the price is collapsing till the next two candle? Price was not collapsing at all. Price was not collapsing, right? So instead, you can see smaller red candles and then the overlapping borders, and then you will see the shallow retracements, right? So again, this is very crucial because in an uptrend, pullbacks are always slow and they are overlapping, right? But in a downtrend, pullbacks are again very fast and so impulsive. So I would say, so this red candles, they are like profit taking. They're again not aggressive selling, right? So this is still kind of a bullish structure we have here, right? Now, come back to phase C. When you will notice the phase C, you will see there's this higher low formation you will see here, right? So notice where the pullbacks stop, right? So above the previous swing low, right? Where your pullback stop above your previous swing low, right? Well, above the dashed reference, you can say, or maybe nowhere near the blue TMA, right? So this forms again a higher low, right? So that higher low is again the confirmation that this trend is real. And if the price were weak, it would maybe break the previous low or maybe accelerate the downward, right? It does neither but, right? So that's the thing we need to keep in mind. And when you will see the phase D, no, what you will notice here. That's the kind of the re-acceleration, or maybe you can keep the name as like a continuation, right? So after compressing, price the pushes again, right? Green candles they regain size, closes, start printing near highs again, and like the momentum they rebuilds, right? So this is kind of the trend continuation. This is not like a breakdown, not like a breakout, or maybe whatever. It's not like chasing them, right? So the final candle on the right, as you can see, is again like a continuation candle, not like a exhaustion yet, right? Now, what we need to understand what the weeks are saying, right? Because every time, just along with this body, the weeks also plays very important and vital role, as you all know that, right? So now let's try to understand what these weeks are trying to say, right? So now let's read the weak behavior because that again tells us who is trapped now, right? So now see the lower weeks, right? So they're like present, but they're not like extreme, right? They appear mostly on the pullbacks. Okay, now so, the lower weights are like they are present, but again, they are not so extreme buyers. They, defend the deeps like very quickly, right? So this again means buyers are active, but they're active on weakness, right? And not about the upper week. So like some exist, but again, closers remain so strong, right? So there is no large rejection weeks at highs yet, right? This means sellers are not defending aggressive, right, at this moment, right? They are not aggressively defending it, right? And if these were like a distribution, you would again see long upper weeks, you will see the weak closes, and you will also see failure to make new highs, right? You will not see none of that yet, right? So that's the thing which we need to understand what the weeks has say from the week point of view. Now let's see what is now let's understand the uptrend versus downtrend, which we can see very clearly here, right? So let's not be very explicit. This is not like a downtrend because there is no lower lows, there is no impulsive sell candles, right? There is no failure to reclaim high, right? There is no pullbacks that are controlled. So that is why this is not definitely a downtrend, right? But this can be your uptrend because impulse, then pullback, and then impulse pattern, right? Higher highs, and then we have the higher lows. We have buyers, they control the closes. We have pullbacks that lack follow through, right? And this is like a this is kind of a textbook intraday uptrend behavior, right? So that's the thing which we need to keep in mind. Now the momentum state, which we need to keep again. So here you can see the momentum is healthy, but it's kind of a euphoric, right? And why it matters? Because euphoric trend, whatever the euphoric trends, they end very fast, right? And healthy trends, again, they grind higher, right? So this chart is grinding, not blowing off, I would say, right? You can see this last chart candle is again sometimes it's red, sometimes it's green, and things like that. So that basically means trend they are likely continues until this structure breaks, not because it went up too much, right? So, you know, I would say, uh, you know, I think, like for this to stop being an uptrend, right? If someone will ask me what would break this uptrend, so I would say for this to be able to stop being an uptrend, I would say you know, you would need any one of these above, like above 4 or 5 points. You just need one of these, right? So the first is a strong bearish impulse candle, which will close below 87,100 to 300 somewhere. So we need something a very strong bearish impulse candle, right? Then the second I would say is a lower high followed by your lower low, right? So that's something which we need to keep in mind. Then the third point I would say is the multiple candles. they will start failing and failing to hold above prior highs. That's the thing. And lastly, but not the last, I would say large upper weeks and all the weekday closes near the highs. So we currently have none of these, right? So calling these a downtrend here would be objectively wrong, I would say, right? So that's something which we need to keep in mind. And what this is most likely right now. So based on price, I would say again currently it is trading at 88,105, 50, right? 151. So based on purely on the price, I would say this is intraday trend continuation first thing. Second, I would say all the pullbacks they are buyable until the structure they breaks, right? And risk they only increases near extended highs, not in the middle, right? So this is the kind of chart where traders they will lose money if they're trying to short because it is high again, right? So how to stay this, how to just stay alive. So I would just want to say on this 45-minute chart, I would say Bitcoin is in clean intraday uptrend, right? We have got impulse, we have got shallow pullbacks, we have got higher lows. And sellers, they are not showing aggression, right? Pullbacks, they are overlapping, they are again not impulsive. So until we lose structure, it basically means a lower low or maybe strong close below 87,100 to 300 something, this trend remains intact, right? So this is not again distribution yet, but yeah, this is kind of the continuation. So with this, I would want to stop my word here, and that's the overall analysis of Bitcoin, right? So in the next live stream, which we will be having in next 3 hours, so in that live stream, we will quickly walk through what's the current price of Bitcoin. Right now, it is trading at approximately 88,000. 90 to 88,120. We will come back again and we will again see what the price of Bitcoin will be trading during that time, and then we will start doing the analysis of Solana today, right? So that's all for today. Hope you all enjoy this live session. See you all in the next live session. Bye bye.